Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Wolverine Exit Wounds, number one, from 2019. Now, I'll get to this in just a moment here, but first, I absolutely love this cover. I love either dry ink or some kind of um oh like charcoal pencil perhaps, and I love it. Ryan Stegman is the cover artist here, and I just love this cover. I don't even think Sabretooth is in this story, and it's just pretty cool. So these are actually three stories here, but we're only going to be covering one, but I'm going to show you the variant covers before we get to this. Is Rob Liefeld, of course. And I really like this cover. As much criticism as Rob Liefeld gets with his drawings, he sometimes nails it. And this cover, I think he nailed it. This is another variant cover. Marvel loves their variant covers. And then this was the third variant cover. Now there's a second printing cover that I'm also going to show you. This one is by Sam Keith. The cover itself is okay. I've seen Sam Keith do way better. And then this is the second printing, also by Sam Keith. Now, I have a few playlists, and I cover Chris Claremont's run on X-Men in reading order. And this story, although it was released in 2019, takes place during the Kitty Pryde versus the Wolverine issue number 6 at the end. So this story that I'm going to show you takes place between this panel and this panel. Now, I am going to bring something up. And I want you to look at how Wolverine is dressed here and how he is dressed in that other story. So I will figure that he changed for some reason. So, and he's wearing the walking stick because he's injured, but not in the other story. So I don't know whether Claremont remembered or looked at this or revisited it or just what, or maybe it was in the script and Salvador Larroca just kind of did what he wanted, but I doubt it. So this story, like I said, between defeating Ogun and picking up Carmen Pryde. So this is a short story. It's only 8 pages long. And so it's called Aftermath, and it is written by Chris Claremont and drawn by Salvador Larroca. And so Kitty Pryde says, "We're supposed to be picking up my dad. So how come we're heading north?" And Yukio says, "No one asked you along, Pryde." Sorry, Wolverine said that. And Kitty says, "Oh, please. Where you go, old man, I go." And then Wolverine says, "So trust me then." And Kitty's like, "How come you're making me speak Japanese?" And Wolverine says, "So you won't forget." And she says, "After all that's happened, maybe I want, maybe I need to forget." And Wolverine says, "No, you don't." "Knowledge is power," says Wolverine. "Knowing how to use it makes you stronger. As a member of the X-Men, that's what you what we need, especially when you're a kid. You're 13, Sprout, and cute. Who takes you seriously? That presumption makes you truly dangerous. And Kitty says, maybe I don't want to be dangerous. And Wolverine says, then, darling, you shouldn't have joined the X-Men. And Kitty says, we making a pit stop, old man? And he says, actually, girl, I think we've arrived. That was Yukio. And Kitty says, really, Yukio? We're here in the middle of nowhere. This is the middle of nowhere in Japan? That's kind of cool. And Wolverine comes out, and so does Yukio. We're better to learn for Logan to have secrets. And Wolverine says, woman, you talk too much. Pryde, bring my bag from the back. What you got in here, old man? This bag weighs a ton. Look at her sticking her tongue out. Good. Maybe the effort will tire you out enough to shut you up. So, um, having a bit of a banter, these two, after their mission here. And Kitty says, so, like I said, what is this place? And he says, follow me inside, girl. And so here you see a restaurant, and Wolverine says, and see for yourself. I am a fan of Salvador Larroca. Salvador Larroca works digital. Um, he unfortunately uses a lot of reference, and I mean a lot. And I've seen this guy draw. He can draw. For some reason, he's turned into I can't do something unless I see it. And he is constantly using reference. And there's nothing wrong with reference, but I mean, all the time. So that is one of my biggest criticisms. He takes a lot of faces. For example, when he was doing Astonishing Iron Man, not Astonishing Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man with Matt Fraction, which, by the way, is an incredible series. He used the actor that played Sawyer in Lost. I forget his name right now, but you can look him up in IMDb. So, Josh Holloway, and he used him as Tony Stark, and it was all over. And he does things like that, like he casts people in things, and so I don't know. It's just one of those things with La Roca. So just keep that in mind. I still like him. I still like his style that he uses, but I just want to bring that in case some of you go, hey, I don't like him or whatever. Um, I don't mind him. I just wish he didn't use so much reference all the time. Anyway, so this lady here gives him a big hug and says, "Logan Sama, what are you doing here?" And he says, "Got a call from your husband, Hoshiko." And she says, "I can handle things myself." And Wolverine says, "He loves you. He's in space aboard Starcore. He worries." And here, Kitty says, "I'm Kitty," and this guy says Tatsuo, and of course that must mean dragon. And she says, "Totally cool. I like dragons. How about we make the grown-ups some tea and maybe gather up some munchies, okay?" And so, um, Logan asks, "So what's the sitch?" And I assume this is Hoshiko, not the husband, or the name. The name is and Hoshiko says, "Blame the storm. My staff and friends were caught off site. Um, Raiden and I are on our own. A perfect opportunity for Gogo to take advantage. He runs all the ramen shops in the district. He hates the fact that I stand independent like my mother before me. Logan, he wants our family recipes." And Wolverine says, "That's why I'm here, child, to persuade him to choose a better path." And she says, "But how?" And Wolverine says, "Leave that to me." And Yukio says, "Logan Sama, you are just full of surprises." And here he is wearing an apron, cooking. Name of the game, Yukio. Always come up with the unexpected. And this kid here, Tatsuo says, "Are you using my mother's recipe?" And Wolverine says, "That would be rude, boy. Each chef, if they're any good, has their own unique way of doing things." And the kid says, "Is my mom good?" And Wolverine says, "Your mom's among the best. Just like her mom and her mom and her mom before her." "You talk like you really knew them," asked the kid here, and Wolverine just smiles. And Kitty says, "Water's boiling, Logan. No one's back home ever seen this side of you." And Wolverine says, "None of us are just one thing, little girl. Not all our pieces fit neatly together." Um, Not sure they're even supposed to. And Wolverine pops up a claw here. He's gonna use instead of using a knife. "Interesting, Logan. The boy has your eyes." And Yukio says, "And you, darling, talk too much." And the kid says, "So, Logan Sama, whose ramen recipe are you using?" And Wolverine says, "Whose do you think, boy?" "My own." And Wolverine says, "What are you looking at, Pryde?" And Kitty says, "I'm just trying to remember all this so I can try it myself back home. I really love ramen." And Wolverine hands her a knife and says, "Make yourself useful then. Stand beside me. Watch what I do. Do what I tell you. Start by chopping the veg. And always remember, use your knife like it's a part of you. Same as I do mine." And so, sometime later, the lady goes, "Logan Sama, this is," and the kid goes, "Kind of like yours, Mom, only different and great." And so the bad guys show up here. "Hey, hey, hey, little lady, didn't I tell you we'd be back?" "Boss, behind the counter." "You stay there, old man, and mind your own business. This has nothing to do with you," says the guy here. "Time's run out, Hoshiko. I want your family ramen recipes, and I won't take no for an answer." And Wolverine says, "No need for threats, my friends. My ramen's fresh. Try a taste." "Yeah, right, like a Gaiden has a clue how to make ramen." And Wolverine says, "I guarantee it's nothing like you have had before." "Well, you're wrong," as he spits it in Wolverine's face. Shouldn't have done that. And all his stooges laugh here. And Yukio and Kitty know what's up as they just kind of watch. But Hoshiko and her son are kind of like, uh-oh. And Wolverine looks back and it says, "My apologies, Hoshiko." And grabs the guy and says, "You had your chance, bub. Now it's my turn," as he tosses him. And the kids watch him getting tossed. So Wolverine's about to go into action. And he says, "Don't worry, Hoshiko. Enjoy your soup. This won't take long." Um, Kitty says, "Sorry for the damage. We'll set it right." And the kid says, "Be cool, Raiden. Crazy as it looks, this kind of thing actually happens to Logan all the time." So sorry, that was Kitty. Back soon. "Kitty, take this. Might come in handy." Thanks, Yukio, as she finishes the ramen. "Yukio, aren't you going to help?" And she says, "I get involved, I'll just kill them all. Besides, Logan's soup is really good. I can't let it get cold." And she looks at these pictures here and she's like, "What the heck?" And it says here, "These pictures go back generations with Logan in each one, and the last one, it's a wedding picture between Logan and Hoshiko's great 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 grandmother. The whole family on the mom's side, it's descended from him." Wow. So interesting. "Well, so much for my concern," says Kitty, and you can see her kind of phasing. This should have guessed something like this would happen. And so they punch him in the face, but of course he's made out of adamantium. They can't, or his bones are, so it doesn't hurt. And this guy's like, ow, and this other like steel. And here you can see a giggle, and guys, and Kitty says, guys, hey, enough of this foolishness. And she puts in the sword, and everyone looks at it and says, look at that staff, the ancestral katana of Clan Ishida. That means we've been fighting Lady Mariko's Gaijin beloved. And this other guy is like, we are so doomed. And Wolverine says, gentlemen, this is my house. Look at this Logan Noodle house. So, I just find that funny. So here's what you're going to do to set things right. First, apologize to Hoshiko and her son. Next, clean up the mess and repair all the damages. Matter of fact, you're going to reform your wicked ways and become the best and most law-abiding friends this family, heck, this town has ever had. Is that clear? And he's like, yes, sir. Um, we're done with this foolishness, Goto. Is that clear? Don't come back. Don't make me come back here again, because if that happens next, and look at Yukio, still finishing the ramen, will be the last. And he pops his claws as the kids look in terror. So, all right, Wolverine Exit Wounds #1. I did the second story by Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca. The first story is with Larry Hama and Scott Eaton. I will eventually get to that one. And the last story is by Sam Keith, beautifully drawn. So, anyway, like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.